So students, after the internal rate of return, modified internal rate of return, multiple internal rate of return, NPV versus IRR, the last method of the techniques of capital budgeting is profitability index. It is a ratio basically. What is the formula for getting the profitability index? The present value of cash flows subsequent to the initial investment. Initial investment is the investment in the zero period or the right now. After that, you get the cash inflows and outflows. That's why PV of cash flows subsequent to the initial investment. For example, in the previous example which we discussed, the initial investment is minus 30,000. Subsequent cash flows are 8,000, 10,000, 11,000, 17,000, 12,000, like that. So these are the subsequent cash flows. So what will be the profitability index? Profitability index is equal to the present value of cash flows subsequent to the initial investment. So here is equal to the present value of cash flows, that is 12% is your cutoff rate, all the cash inflows, outflows, whatever subsequent to the cash initial cash investment. Initial cash investment in 30,000. Leave that. From year 1 to year 5, whatever cash flow you have generated, that's present value divided by the initial investment will be the 1.35 will be the, if for example here initial investment is negative, so make it, yeah, 1.35 is the profitability index. Again, I'm just again calculating here for your, what is the formula? Formula is equal to present value of cash flows subsequent to the initial investment. Therefore, we will use the NPV without the initial investment. NPV, cost of capital 12%. Then subsequent to the initial investment, all from year 1 to year 5, bracket close. If normally NPV means plus the initial investment, we will not make the plus initial investment. We will make divide the initial investment. Give you the profitability index. Because the initial investment is given in negative, so the value is coming negative. So minus, then the value will come positive. So this is the way we calculate the profitability index. And normally it will be around 1, either 1 point or 0 point. Minimum acceptance criteria is accept if PI is greater than 1. If it is 1, one of your friend has asked the question, can the IRR be negative or NPV be negative? It's possible. So if it is 0 or less than 0, then it will be rejected. If it is greater than 1, the project should be accepted. In this example, your profitability index is 1.35, more than 1, accept. If it is 0 or less than 0, then you reject. Ranking criteria, highest PI should be ranked first, then accordingly. Disadvantage, problem with mutually exclusive events. You know mutually exclusive event says one accepted, others automatically rejected. But what if you have multiple projects? You have 5 projects, A, B, C, D, E. Out of that, 2 projects are having PI greater than 1. You can invest both projects because both are giving more than 1. Because they are mutually exclusive, you cannot accept more than 1. PI says accept both of them, but they are mutually exclusive. If you accept one, the other, though profitable, automatically gets rejected. Advantage, useful when available investment funds are limited. Easy to understand and communicate. Very simple. It's a ratio. What is the ratio? Ratio is the present value of subsequent cash flows divided by initial cash outflow is the profitability index. correct decision when evaluating independent projects. Yes, if they are not mutually exclusive, this is very good. If two projects are giving more than one, accept both of them because PI tells you which one to be accepted, which one greater than one. Out of 5 projects, 2 projects are giving more than one, accept them. And the practice of capital budgeting varies by industry. Some firms may use payback, while some others say no, payback is not appropriate for us. Alternative approach like net present value is better. Normally, for small companies, small industries, payback period might be good. But for large investments, large size of investment projects, payback might not be good. IRR or NPV might be good. But when there is a comparison between IRR and NPV, NPV is the best one. Some examples are given here for your practice. Here, project A, project B. You tell me now which project will give multiple IRR? Project A. Why? There is a cash outflow in the beginning. Again, in the third year, cash outflow is there. Sign change is there in the future cash flows. Year 1, year 2 positive, year 3 negative. If you are calculate IRR, IRR will be multiple IRRs will be there here. But for project B, there will be single IRR. Why? There is one cash outflow followed by cash inflows. So minus, then plus, 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 one IRR. If there are multiple sign changes, you will have multiple IRRs. So not appropriate. Project A cannot be applied. For IRR, project A is not suitable. Same like payback period also. Payback period means zero cumulative cash flow. You see here in project A, in the year 1, there will be 0, minus 200 plus 200, 0. Again, year 2 cumulative cash flow will be 800. 0 plus 800 is equal to 800. Again, year 3, there will be cumulative cash flow 0. There will be 2 payback periods in project A, 1 year and 3 year. So, your methods might not be appropriate. Cash flow project A, project B, total cash flows, cash outflow. Present values of cash inflows 1 to 3 to 41 to 40 for project B. NPV of project A is 41.92. NPV of project B is 90.80. So 90 project B should be accepted. IRR, you see here, IRR of project A is multiple. One is 0%, one is 100%. Why? There are multiple sign change in project A. So IRR is not appropriate. PI, project A is 1.20, project B is 1.60, project B is good. Payback period, you have for project A, as I told you, there are 2 payback periods. One is 2 years, one is 1 or 3 years. Project B, it is 2 years. Why? 150 is the outflow, cumulative cash flow becomes 0 in the second year. So project B, payback period is 2 years. But for project A, cumulative cash flow becomes 0 to 2 places. In year 1, 0, in year 3, 0. So payback period 1 year or 3 year, confusion. So payback period is not appropriate. So discounted payback period is given here, NPV IRR relationship is given here. For the same project, you see for project A, 2 IRR, one is 0%, one is 100%. Why? There are multiple sign changes are there. And project. So these are the summary of discounted cash flow, net present value, IRR are the both are discounted cash flows. And difference between market value and cost price, except the project if NPV is positive, has no serious problems, preferred decision criteria. Internal rate of return, discount rate of that makes NPV 0. So IRR is the rate at which NPV becomes 0. That is the definition. Take the project if IRR is greater than required rate of return. IRR 15%, NPV, the required rate of return is 10%. So IRR greater than required rate, accept. Required rate 10%, IRR 5%, IRR is less than the required rate, so reject. Same decision as NPV with conventional cash flows. If the cash flows will not have sign change, normally NPV IRR gives the same decision. But IRR is unreliable with non-conventional cash flow, mutually exclusive projects. Like unconventional cash flow means the sign changes in between, cash outflow minus cash inflow plus, again cash outflow minus, again cash inflow plus. If there are multiple times sign change, outflow inflow, IRR is unreliable. It is again unreliable for mutually exclusive projects. Profitability index, benefit cost ratio we see here, because it is a ratio of what? The ratio of the present value of subsequent cash flows divided by initial investment, therefore cost benefit ratio. If the PI greater than 1, accept, otherwise reject. Cannot be used to rank mutually exclusive projects, same like IRR. If there are mutually exclusive projects, PI might not be helpful. May be used to rank projects in the presence of capital rationing. Capital rationing means there is a limited amount of capital available. For example, your management says only 1 million real available. You have to take projects. So if you have 5 projects, you cannot take 5 projects if they are more than 1 million. Your rationing here is 1 million. In that case, cost benefit analysis you have to see and take those projects which are having high PI. Payback criteria, length of time until the initial investment is recovered. This is the period in which you recover your initial investment. Take the project if it pays back in some specified time period. If the payback period is less than or equal to the management criteria, accept. If it is more than the management criteria, reject. Does not account for time value of money. The main drawback of payback period is it does not take into account time value of money, and there is an arbitrary cutoff period. The cutoff period which the management gives you is not scientific. Discounted payback period. The length of time until initial investment is recovered on a discounted basis. Here time value of money is considered. But the same we see in how many years you get back your initial investment after discounting. Take the project if the payback period is within the specified period given by management. If it is more than that, reject. And the cutoff period or specified period given by the management is arbitrary. So this question you can try. You can try in the spreadsheet, and if you have any problem, you can tell me. Just a minute, let me stop the recording here.